What's up YouTube? I come to you today to talk to you about the weight reduction of the KTM RC390. In this video I will discuss the various weight savings on this bike, and I'll show you how to actually weigh it so you can either track your progress or just know what you've taken off so far up to this point if you haven't been keeping track. Okay, so as you can see on my bike, I've got all of the race fairings on it. However, I have this addition of this LED light bar in the front, and I've got a fender eliminator acting as a taillight bracket and license plate holder in the rear. Also on top of that, you can see that I'm still retaining my factory kickstand, and I wanted to leave these things on here and weigh this for you guys so you could see what you could potentially get your street bike down to as far as weight goes. So I've done a ton of modifications to this bike, so let's start off with some of the big ones. One of the biggest weight advantages was obviously going to be the exhaust. The factory exhaust has a big cat in it. It's basically a big stamped steel piece, and it weighs a ton. Putting on an aftermarket exhaust, you're going to save yourself somewhere in the ballpark of 5 to 10 pounds, depending on which exhaust you choose. I also, as seen in previous videos, have the Tyga rear sets, the Öhlins shock, the Tyga belly pan, the Tyga seat cowling, the Tyga front fairing, the Tyga upper triple tree, the Tyga clip-ons, K-Tech cartridges, and the Galfer 320mm wave rotor, which actually saves quite a bit of weight as well. Some of the additional modifications that I've made to this bike were I removed the emissions-related components for the evap solenoid on the left side of the bike. I also bypassed the ABS control unit on it. I still have it in place because it functions as the computer that relays information to the dash, so you can actually have a speedometer readout. But eliminating a couple of the brake lines has saved a little bit of extra weight as well. Now, there are a couple modifications that I've yet to make. I haven't put an aftermarket battery in it yet, and Formula 390 sells an upper fairing stay that's made out of aluminum and replaces the bulky stay that's factory equipped on this bike, which would also save me another 1.5 pounds. So the big question regarding this video is, how much does it weigh? And how do you weigh it? Well, we're going to cover those two questions right now. However, before we start, I would like to point out that currently as it sits, it's set up for street, it's got the factory kickstand on it, it's got a full tank of gas, which is 2.6 gallons, its coolant capacity is 1.2 quarts, and its engine oil capacity is 1.7 quarts. So I'm not going to show you all of the math to do this, but at the end, after we weigh the bike, I'll tell you exactly how much all of those things weigh to give an exact dry weight on my RC390. Alright, so the way that we're going to weigh the bike is, what I've done is I've gone to Walmart, I've bought a couple of really cheap bathroom scales. You always want to make sure that before you start this process, you zero the scales out. If you don't zero them out, as you can see, I've changed how it's reading. You could either start high or low on accident, and if we want, as accurate of a result as possible, you want to make sure that the scale is on 0. Alright, so if you've zeroed your scales, go ahead and put them under the front and rear wheel of the bike. If you don't have track stands, there's a way you can do this. You'll have to pick it up on the kickstand, kind of lean it really far, or you can roll it up onto the scales using some wood planks. So first we're going to go ahead and remove the front stand, because that's just how you always do it. You remove the front stand first and then the rear stand last. First, make sure the front wheel is centered on the scale, so roll it forwards a little bit, and then we'll go remove the rear stand. If you don't have somebody to help you hold the bike, just be really careful in this part. Whenever you remove the rear stand, just hold the bike up on your own. The measurement's going to kind of walk back and forth as straight up and down you get the bike, but usually you can get it pretty even just to get a fairly accurate measurement. It's not going to be precise though. So now we're going to remove our rear stand. After that, we're going to make sure that it's fully centered on the scales, and we'll go ahead and take our measurements. So the rear is reading 152 pounds, and the front is about 179. So 152 pounds and 179 pounds added together is 331 pounds. So that is the exact wet weight of this bike with all the modifications done in street trim. Alright, so I know that 331 pounds doesn't really sound that great. KTM lists the bike at 340 pounds ready to race, but it's actually 340 pounds dry. Whenever I first got this thing and it was totally stock, I weighed it and it was like 380 pounds and I was bummed. So, all of the fluid capacities added up equal out to 24 pounds. So that brings this bike down to 307 pounds totally dry in street trim. Now, there's a couple things that I haven't done on this bike like I previously said. So if we take into consideration taking off the kickstand, losing the light bar, the license plate with tail light, putting an aftermarket lightweight battery in it, and changing the upper fairing stay to the one that Formula 390 sells, it's a really good possibility that I could take an extra 12 pounds off this thing, making it somewhere around 295 pounds completely dry. I've said it before, the reason I love this bike so much is because it is so lightweight, and you can really tell how lightweight it is once you get it on a racetrack. You're not going to really feel it, screwing around in the city or riding on back roads so much, but once you get it on a racetrack and you do lap after lap after lap, you'll see how much easier it is to ride this bike as compared to a heavier 600 or an even heavier 1000 class bike. So in this video, you guys have seen what you can potentially get your bike down to as far as weight, how you can get it down to that weight, and then how to weigh it. So that's all I've got for you guys today. So as always, if you like this video, make sure you click that like button. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this from me in the future. And as always, do not forget to have a nice day.